Some cars get older, fade into traffic, and slowly disappear into the background. And then there are cars like these. Because even in 2026, when roads are full of oversized crossovers, generic SUVs, and modern cars that all seem to follow the same design formula, a few older German cars still have that rare ability to make people look twice. They do not need giant screens, fake exhaust sounds, or overly aggressive styling to get attention. They get attention the old-fashioned way with shape, presence, and real identity. That is what this video is about. Today, we are counting down 4 German cars that still turn heads in 2026. These are not the most common choices. They are not the obvious cars everyone always talks about. They are the German models that still have visual drama, timeless style, and the kind of road presence that makes people stop and stare even years later. Some are elegant, some are unusual. Some look expensive far beyond what they actually cost. But all of them have one thing in common. They still stand out in a world full of forgettable cars. Let's get into it. 4. Mercedes-Benz C215. Starting off the list is the Mercedes-Benz C215 CL class, one of the most underrated luxury coupes Germany ever produced. This is the kind of car that still makes people look simply because it has presence. It looks long, low, expensive, and effortlessly powerful. Even if someone knows nothing about cars, they can still tell this was never meant to be ordinary transportation. It carries itself like a flagship, and that feeling has not disappeared in 2026. What makes the C215 so special is how elegantly it delivers that presence. It does not need loud styling or dramatic details to feel important. The shape does the work. The proportions are beautiful. The coupe roofline is smooth and confident. The body looks substantial without being bulky. It feels like the designers understood that true luxury does not need to shout, and that is exactly why it still turns heads today. Modern luxury cars often try too hard. They use oversized grilles, endless chrome, aggressive lights, and over-designed surfaces just to force attention. But the C215 comes from a different era, one where Mercedes-Benz knew that real status came from confidence, not noise. That is why the car still has such a strong effect. It looks expensive in a timeless way, not trendy, not temporary, timeless. Another reason the C215 still stands out is because cars like this are becoming incredibly rare. Big personal luxury coupes are no longer common. Today, the market is obsessed with SUVs and 4-door everything. So when a proper Mercedes flagship coupe appears on the road, people notice. It feels like something from a more elegant period of automotive design. And that matters, because the cars that still turn heads in 2026 are usually the ones that offer something modern traffic no longer does. In the case of the C215, that is pure old-school prestige. It looks rich, it looks serious, and even today, it still has that "what is that?" effect when a clean one passes by. The C215 CL class may not be the loudest German car on this list, but it is definitely one of the most sophisticated, and that is exactly what makes it unforgettable. 3. Audi TT 8J. At number 3 is the Audi TT 8J, a car that proves style does not need to be complicated to be effective. The second-generation Audi TT has one of the cleanest and most disciplined designs of any German coupe from its era. It is not trying to look angry. It is not trying to look futuristic, and it is not overloaded with unnecessary details. Instead, it relies on shape, proportion, and simplicity, and that is exactly why it still turns heads in 2026. Even today, the TT 8J looks sharp. The roofline is perfect. The body is compact and athletic, and the whole car has that polished Audi feel that made the brand so desirable in the first place. It looks premium without feeling oversized. It looks sporty without looking childish. It sits in that rare middle ground where design feels both modern and timeless at the same time. That is not easy to achieve. The TT 8J also stands out because it avoids one of the biggest problems in modern car design: trying too hard. A lot of newer cars are filled with fake aggression. Huge air intakes, exaggerated lines, oversized wheels, and styling tricks that feel more desperate than elegant. The Audi TT 8J takes the opposite approach. It stays calm, it stays clean, and as a result, it looks better with age. There is also something very important about the TT's identity. You can recognize it instantly. That matters more than people think. In a sea of cars that blur together, the TT still looks like itself. It has character. It has shape. It has a silhouette that is impossible to confuse with anything else. That is why it keeps getting attention. And unlike some older German cars that rely mostly on nostalgia, the TT 8J still feels current enough to impress younger viewers too. It does not look old in a bad way. It looks intentional. It looks designed. It looks like a car someone chose because they actually cared about aesthetics. That is what keeps it relevant in 2026. The Audi TT 8J is one of those rare cars that still looks expensive, still looks stylish, and still looks different without becoming flashy. And in today's world, that is more than enough to make people turn their heads. 2. BMW Z3 Coupe. Taking the number 2 spot is the BMW Z3 Coupe, one of the strangest, coolest, and most instantly recognizable German cars of its time. This is the kind of car that does not just turn heads. It confuses people, surprises people, and sticks in their memory long after it drives away. And honestly, that is exactly why it belongs so high on this list. The BMW Z3 Coupe has a silhouette unlike almost anything else on the road. Long hood, short cabin, shooting brake rear end, it looks unusual from every angle. And that unusual design is what gives it so much visual power, even in 2026. You simply do not see shapes like this anymore, and that is a huge advantage. A lot of cars stand out because they are expensive. The Z3 Coupe stands out because it is bold. It feels like a car built by people who were willing to take a risk. It is weird in the best possible way, and over time, that weirdness has become one of its greatest strengths. When it was new, not everyone understood it. Some people thought it looked awkward. Some thought it was too odd to age well. But now, years later, the exact opposite has happened. The things that made the Z3 Coupe unusual are the same things that make it so desirable today. It has personality. It has rarity. It has real visual drama. And in a time when most new cars are designed by committee, that kind of individuality feels incredibly refreshing. The Z3 Coupe also benefits from the fact that it looks like something important. Even people who do not know the exact model can tell it is special. It does not blend into traffic. It does not disappear in parking lots. It always feels like a deliberate choice, and people naturally react to that. That is why it still turns heads in 2026. Some cars are beautiful in a traditional sense. Others become attractive because they are daring, memorable, and impossible to ignore. The BMW Z3 Coupe absolutely belongs in that second category. It is not normal. It was never meant to be. And that is exactly what makes it one of the most head-turning German cars you can still see on the road today. 1. Porsche Cayman 987. If the question is which German car still turns heads in 2026, this is one of the strongest answers you can possibly give. Because the Cayman 987 does something very few cars manage to do, it still looks genuinely special without relying on trends, nostalgia, or gimmicks. It simply looks right. The proportions are the first thing that make the Cayman so powerful visually. Low roofline, wide stance, short overhangs, and that unmistakable mid-engine sports car balance. Even standing still, it looks fast. It looks planted. It looks like a proper machine built around performance, not just marketing, and people immediately respond to that. In 2026, when so many modern performance cars have become larger, more complicated, and often visually overloaded, the Cayman 987 feels almost pure. It has just enough design detail to feel premium, but never too much. It is clean, athletic, and timeless. That is why it still turns heads so easily. There is also the Porsche factor, of course. The badge helps, but the Cayman is not just coasting on the crest. Plenty of Porsches are respected. Not all of them stop people in their tracks. The 987 does because the design itself deserves attention. It has the silhouette of a real sports car, and that silhouette never goes out of style. Another reason it stands out is because it feels expensive in a very honest way. It does not need drama to look exotic. It already has enough shape, enough confidence, and enough proportion to create that effect naturally. When a Cayman 987 drives by, it still feels like something special is happening. And perhaps the best part is that it appeals to almost everyone. Enthusiasts respect it. Casual viewers notice it. Even people who do not follow Porsche closely still understand that it looks serious. That broad appeal matters because the cars that turn the most heads are usually the ones that work both inside and outside the enthusiast world. That is exactly what the Cayman 987 does. It is stylish without being soft, aggressive without being excessive, premium without looking artificial, and years after it was introduced, it still feels fresh in a way many newer sports cars do not. That is why it takes number 1. The Porsche Cayman 987 still turns heads in 2026 because it captures something very rare, timeless sports car design, with real presence and absolutely no need to prove itself. Conclusion. So those were 4 German cars that still turn heads in 2026. The cars that prove great design does not expire. From the elegant, expensive-looking Mercedes-Benz C 215 CL class, to the clean and stylish Audi TT 8J, to the unforgettable BMW Z3 Coupe, and finally the stunning Porsche Cayman 987, every car on this list still has something most modern vehicles are missing: identity. They do not look like everything else. They do not depend on trends. They do not need fake aggression or oversized styling to get attention. They get noticed because they were designed with confidence, originality, and real presence. And maybe that is why they still matter so much. Because in a world where so many cars are becoming more similar, the ones that still turn heads are usually the ones brave enough to be different. Now I want to hear from you. Which German car do you think still turns heads the most in 2026? And did I miss one that deserves a place on this list? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next upload. And if you want to support the channel, the best thing you can do is watch until the end, leave a comment, and share this video with another car enthusiast. That really helps the channel grow. Thanks for watching AutoScope, and I will see you in the next one.